Today on CityCast Philly, it's starting to get cooler outside, and that means fall is coming, and it makes me crave pumpkin spice lattes and apple picking. Today is the first in a 3-part series on fall getaways. We're talking about places in our region you can take a day trip and enjoy the fall foliage and flavors of the season. And plus, these places are all under 2 hours outside of the city. It's Tuesday, September 19th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Maddy Sweitzer-Lammé, you're a freelance food writer, and you have a food tour company called Tiny Table Tours, where you guide people to really great eateries in the city. Welcome to CityCast Philly.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here on this fall day.
Maddy, tell me, what's your favorite thing to eat in the fall?
Oh my gosh. I think when fall rolls around, I'm like, I want warm things. I want like braised stuff. I'm always excited to make like a leg of lamb or something in my home. It like makes everything smell so good.
Right.
And it's fun to like gather people around like a big pot of like bubbling food.
Yes. I love chilies and soups.
Yes. It's like my like craving for those things returns so intensely. But also I get really excited about apple cider donuts, like any kind of apple pastry situation. So yeah, I'm really excited to seek some of those out.
See, I love everything pumpkin spice, from the coffees and lattes to donuts. And I love to see, grocery stores kind of change over and start bringing out the pumpkins and the ginger snaps. So those are some of my favorite things.
You and I really represent the two sides of like the fall palette. Like
right.
I'm apple and you're a pumpkin. I'm not a big pumpkin spice person, but
okay.
I'm not mad at it, and it has its moment for me as well.
Okay. So let's get into some of these fun day trips and activities we can do to take advantage of the season. You wrote about this for Philly Mag, but can we eat first? Let's, put some food in our stomachs. We're talking about all these flavors and spices and things like that. Let's go to Bucks County. Where should we go in Bucks County to enjoy some of these fall flavors?
Okay, so I think there are kind of like two approaches. Fall, it's like getting cooler, but in the height of the day, it still sometimes is warm. So there's a great ice cream shop in the Lambertville, New Hope area called Oh Wow Cow Creamery. They do lots of seasonal flavors. So kind of thinking about that shoulder season eating ice cream, but maybe pumpkin spice ice cream for you.
Yeah.
I love to do that. I'm not giving up on ice cream just yet.
I love that.
Yeah. And then for like a sit down meal, if you want to sort of sit on the river, watch the water go by, enjoy the fall outdoor vibes, Stella of New Hope, which is attached to the Ghostlight Inn in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Really beautiful restaurant. And then again, you're going to get all those seasonal things. So if mushrooms are coming into season, you'll see them there. Lots of squash, soup, really kind of like classic eating, but with a little bit of a seasonal twist.
Nice.
I think the other option, if you're trying to get outside, maybe run around with your children, is to go to Soulberry Orchard. So apple picking, they do apple cider donuts. You can get hot cider. It's a beautiful orchard, family owned for a long time. And it's just a really nice way to sort of spend a day or part of a day around some seasonal produce.
I love it. Now, after we get our bellies full, what else can we do in Bucks County for the day?
Yeah, so I think my recommendations in Bucks County are sort of centered around the New Hope, Lambertville area. There's the Delaware Canal Path, which just goes right along the water. It's flat. It's easy to walk along if you don't want to do anything too strenuous, but also it's long. So if you wanted to jog or bike, that's definitely an option. And it just goes along the water, which I love. It's always nice to be right by the water. And then the other option right over there is the Goat Hill Overlook. So it's about a mile loop, but it's quite hilly. So you go up and then you can sort of look over the New Hope, Lambertville area. Beautiful view and a nice way to sort of like take in the foliage as well.
Nice. Are there best days that we should go to these spots?
On the weekends in the fall, New Hope and Lambertville can be quite crowded, but sometimes that hustle and bustle is kind of nice. So if you are open to that, if you want that, weekends are great. Maybe playing hooky from work on a Thursday or Friday and making a day out of it is also really nice if you're looking for a little bit more quiet. And then, we're going to be getting into peak foliage towards the end of October, middle to end of October. So if you're really looking for the fall colors, thinking about waiting until the second half of October is probably going to be your best bet.
This episode is brought to you by Certified Piedmontese Beef. Listen up, foodies. Make your next meal even better with real Nebraska beef. They have healthy, tender, delicious Italian heritage beef, grass-fed and sustainably raised on lush pastures in the Midwest. You can even create your own personally curated meat box that's shipped right to your door. To get 2 free steaks with any purchase over $50, use the code FREEBEEF at checkout. Learn more and shop exclusively at cpbeef.com.
Maddy, let's head over to Montgomery County. What should we do there?
I think the thing to do in Montgomery County is go to Greenland Park. So big park with a big lake where you can rent boats, you can kayak, you can hike, you can bike. Even as it's getting colder, there are beaches where you can sort of run around, put your feet in the water if you want. People fish there. It's just really beautiful. And they have many, many types of foliage. So throughout the season, you're going to see a lot of color there. And it, reflects in the water in a really pretty way as well. That's especially special for fall.
Do you have any food recs for Montgomery County?
There's a restaurant and hotel called the Spinnerstown Hotel. The Spinnerstown Hotel and Greenland Park are only like 15 minutes apart from each other. So different counties, but easy to sort of fold into a day trip. So this is a place that I think very few people in Philly know about. More people should visit. It's this small restaurant and hotel that's owned by Susan and John Dale. John Dale has been running this place since 1975. He took it over from his parents. And he is really into European beer. So you can sort of sit at the bar, chat with him or his staff, and just sort of like sip your way through beers from Belgium, Germany, from the UK, but then also local beers as well.
That's cool.
They do a lot of like heavier stuff, which is in the style of European beer. So better for the fall, better for pairing with food also, especially if you're driving. But they just have an unbelievable selection of beer, and then you sort of can pair it with pub food, burgers, that kind of thing. But it's this like really beautiful old building that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but is really worth the drive.
I like that. Okay, moving around to a different part of our region, let's talk about Chester County. It's known for a lot of rolling hills and beautiful farms. Where do you recommend people explore there?
So in Chester, you've got Glenroy Preserve, another beautiful spot for hiking, walking, depending on your level of intensity. And you're going to see really beautiful foliage there throughout the season.
Okay, any fun activities you would recommend in Chester County?
So in Chester County, you can go to Wayvine Vineyards, which is a Pennsylvania winery. You can see the vineyards and then sample a little bit of wine. Their whites are particularly great this time of year. And then, you're also getting into harvest. So it's a particularly beautiful time of year to visit a winery. And Wayvine is cool because, if you live in Philly and you like Wayvine, you can also go to Tulip Pasta Bar, which is up in Fishtown. And it's a pasta restaurant that they've partnered specifically with Wayvine to only feature their wine. So kind of a cool partnership in our backyard as well as a little bit further afield.
Nice. And we're going to talk more about wines later in the week. All right. Finally, Maddy, I have a recommendation. I grew up in Delaware County, Delco girl through and through. And I love taking the family to my favorite spot, Linviller Orchards, because of those crisp apples. You could just park your car, get a box, and put them in the box. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I feel like Linvilla is like a classic Philly day trip.
Yeah.
Especially good for families. There's a lot of stuff for kids there. I feel like Linville, it's an orchard and you can apple pick, but in the fall, it's almost like kind of a county fair vibe. There's like a lot going on there, which can be really fun. And I think kids in particular really love that.
Yes. They also have the market where you can get those donuts and that cider and homemade candy.
Yes, I'm in it for the apple cider donuts, as I said.
All right, that was Maddy Sweitzer-Lammé, freelance food writer and founder of Tiny Table Tours. Thank you so much for all these recommendations and for joining me on CityCast Philly.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have all of Maddy's full recommendations for a fall getaway and a link to her food tour company in our show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode about fall day trips in our region, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with some spooky activities you should add to your list this fall. Talk to you then. Bye.